Hello, my name is Daniel Baldwin, and this is my presentation on the 2015 Utah flooding. On September 15th, 2015, a cluster of thunderstorms in the middle of monsoon season caused torrential downpour in southwestern Utah near the border with Arizona. This rain caused the death of 20 people, 10 of whom were children, and caused an immense amount of infrastructural damage to the affected areas. Among the things destroyed were countless amounts of cars, roads, houses, barns, farmland. This area is a fairly big agricultural area, so a lot of the damage was in poor areas, along with, the destruction of, people's livelihoods. Like farms were destroyed, crops were destroyed, roads in the area were just completely swept away by this flood. The flooding was a result of a storm which is known as a 100-year flood. When a 100-year flood happens, it means this area only gets this type of rain like once in 100 years. So that on top of a dry and rocky climate, one that doesn't hold water in the ground very well, will result in water piling on top of the ground, which will result in flooding on the surface. This area is fairly poor, and there is not much infrastructure in place to keep flooding of this caliber, at least, down. So when flooding like this happens, there's not much protecting the people of the area, especially the people that live, really close to the creek, that could have been just driving home from work and then got swept away in their car, and that was the rest of their life. So was there any change? No, at least not from what I found in my research. I could not find much about, the results after. I found plenty of articles on what happened, why it happened, but I haven't read much, or at least found much, on the aftermath of the flooding. And this is really unfortunate to see because most of the deaths happened in the Hilldale area, which is the area around the Short Creek, which is the creek that flooded that caused all these deaths. And you have a creek that can't stop itself from flooding, and the government isn't doing anything about it. And so it's just going to keep happening. But what I think is the most unfortunate part of this is the situation in Zion National Park. In Zion, there were 7 hikers that went hiking into a canyon, and they went in the morning at around 7:30 a.m. and the forecast said that, hey, it's not going to rain much, so you're good. And the park ranger said, all right, you have a permit, so you can go do this, you're good. But then all of a sudden, the weather just changes in a snap, and the canyon floods, and they all drown. All 7 of them drown just like that. Yes, and so it's just really depressing to see like all this destruction and death happen, and nothing is done about it. Thank you for listening.